Hello students, today we are going to consider a poem from unit number 3 which goes by the name Leisure, and the poet who has written this poem is William Henry Davis. Now before we read and understand the poem, let us first understand what is meaning of the word leisure. Leisure means free time. It's a time when you don't have anything to do as far as duties or jobs are concerned, no responsibilities. It's the time which you can spend doing something that you enjoy. That's called leisure time. Now, what must have inspired the poet to write a poem on leisure? My dear students, I'm sure you must be knowing that in modern times people are very busy. So I'm sure the poet must have also seen the busy lives of people. Everybody is busy. Men and women are busy earning money, doing household chores. Students are busy going to school, to classes, to here and there, and nobody has got time to enjoy the beauty that we see in the nature. And today with internet, mobile, computer and networking sites, people are getting more and more artificial and are going away from the nature. So I am sure this is the reason that must have inspired the poet to write a poem on the leisure. Okay, now let's begin reading and understanding the poem. Leisure. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. These are the first two lines, and in the second line, a question has been asked. The poet is saying, what is the use of this life if it is full of care? Care here stands for, responsibility, duties, worries, so on and so forth. And he says, what is the use of this life if it is full of worries and responsibilities and we have got no time to stand and stare? Here a question is asked. Why do you think the poet wants an answer from we all? No. Here a question has been asked so that emphasis is laid on the words. There is no reason, there is no answer required from us. But the poet wants to stress upon the fact that in modern times, nobody has time to make his or her life rich from nature. That is why a question has been asked, and the figure of speech in this case is interrogation or rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is a question which does not require answer, but rather it is used for stressing on a fact. Okay. Let's read ahead. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. So these are all the things that the poet brings out as the things which we miss out while we are busy in day-to-day routine. The poet says that we cannot call this life a proper life which is full of worries and anxiety, and we have no time to admire the beauty of the Mother Earth. We cannot even have few moments to stand under the branches of green trees and appreciate the beautiful and restful shades of the trees. The common animals like sheep and cows, according to the poet, are better than us in enjoying life because they have got no cares and worries. Here the poet believes that cow and sheep live a peaceful life without stressing about, petty things in life and world as we do. Okay. The poet also says that when we pass through some forest, woods meaning forest, we do not have time to stop for some time also and look at the trees, tall, short, and a variety of them, and enjoy their natural beauty. We have no time to see small creatures like squirrel hiding their food grain in the grass for winter. In our busy life, we ignore the bright sunlight or the water bodies whose water sparkles just like twinkling stars in the sky at night. Okay, so these are all the things, as I said, that the poet brings out as missing things in our life. Let's read further. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. So here in these lines, nature has been personified. It has been called a girl as a beautiful young girl who is dancing cheerfully. The poet says that we have no time to look at the dance of this beautiful girl. Who is that beautiful girl? The beautiful girl actually is the nature itself. And the feet of dancing girl are attractive, but we spare no time to look at these feet as to how they are dancing. In our hurry, we don't even notice the smile of that beautiful young girl, the smile which has started from her eyes and will reach her lips soon. Okay, so these again are the things which the poet brings out, that poet says that these are the things which we have got no time for. And in the end, the poet says that this life actually is a poor life. Why does the poet call this life as a poor life? Not because we are not having money or anything. The poet calls our life poor because the poet says there are such wonderful, rich things around us. What can be richer than the nature itself, who has given birth to all of us, who has given us all the things that we have? When we have got such nature around us and we are ignoring the nature and we are concentrating God only knows on what, on earning money, on doing this, on getting degrees, on this and that, and inviting unnecessary worries. So the poet says this is a kind of life which is very poor because it is full of worries and stress. And again he stresses on the same point, we have no time to stand and stare. Here by these words he means that we have got no leisure time left with us, because we have busied ourselves in something or the other and we are going from one thing to other without allowing us to enjoy a little time of leisure. I hope you have understood the poem. Now let's see a few figures of speech that have been used in this poem. First figure of speech, that rhetorical question or interrogation, I have already explained to you. Now the other is alliteration. Alliteration is a figure of speech when a consonant is repeated in the beginning of words that are coming in quick succession and they produce a good effect. There are many examples of alliteration. One of them, as I will read from the poem, is this. Stream full of stars like skies at night. Here the consonant S has been repeated in the line. Streams full of stars like skies. 3 times it has been used. So the figure of speech is alliteration. Now in this line, another figure of speech is also seen, and that is simile. A comparison is made between the water that is shining because of the reflection of sunlight with the stars that shine at night. The water in any water body or streams shine like stars when sunlight falls on it and reflects. So here there is a comparison made between the water that shines and the stars that shine at night. So here in the same line, either you can write the figure of speech alliteration or simile. Now there are other examples of alliteration also there, which you are welcome to find from the poem. Another figure of speech has been used in the poem, and that is metaphor. Now let's see two examples of metaphor from the poem. One line is there, no time to turn at beauty's glance. Here nature has been implicitly compared to a beautiful woman. And the second line is, enrich the smile her eyes began. Here, we can say that blooming flowers are implicitly compared to a woman smiling. Smile of the nature can be seen in many things, and one of the things that you can see the nature smiling is in flowers. So that is what it is. Now the lines that we have seen for metaphor can also be seen as lines in which personification figure of speech is seen. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. In these lines personification figure of speech is also seen. Beauty means nature has been personified and is given the human quality of dancing. So you can write either of the figure of speech, okay, either metaphorical comparison or as personification. Now let's come to the English workshop. I'm sure you will all be able to solve the questions given in English workshop, except maybe I think the sub question in question number 2. The sub question C is a little tricky. I'll read it for you. Beauty in stanza 5 to 6 can refer to a beautiful maiden as well as nature itself. Explain when and how nature dances and also smiles. Now, my dear students, this poem and these lines can be, seen in different ways. When the nature dances and when the nature smiles. Everybody can have their own way of seeing these lines. Let me explain. According to me, nature dances during spring and summer when the leaves of trees and flowers sway in the breeze. Okay, and nature smiles in the beginning of the spring when the flowers once again begin to bloom. Or we can also have explanation of the same lines like this, that nature is always dancing. The leaves of the trees are moving with wind, the flowers are swaying and lifting their heads, so on and so forth. So we can say that nature is always dancing because it is never stationary. There is some movement or the other in the clouds, and when everything is peaceful and calm and beautiful, the nature is smiling. So everybody can have their own way of expressing when the nature dances and smiles. Okay, now as far as paraphrasing of the poem is concerned, let me do that. That is question number 5. Paraphrase the poem Leisure in your own simple words. Okay, this is something that I will do for you. Let's begin. In this poem Leisure, the poet W.H. Davis questions the type of life that we are leading. We have no time to appreciate the beauties and bounties of nature. He says that we have no time to stand beneath the trees, beneath meaning under, and stare as sheep and cows do. When we are walking through the forest, we have no time to watch where the squirrels hide their food in the grass for winter. We have also no time to look at the streams which sparkle and twinkle in daylight, and it seems that they are full of stars like the skies at night. We have no time to watch when a beautiful young girl dances, or we have no time to wait for the smile which starts from her eyes and completes till her lips. We can also say that beauty is nature, and we have no time to see the trees swaying in breeze and flowers blooming slowly. And in the conclusion, the poet says that our life is a poor life because it is full of cares, worries, stress, and we don't have any time to appreciate and enjoy what nature has given to us. Okay, this is how I will paraphrase the poem. Now, as far as subjective questions are concerned, I have asked you to write an appreciation or analysis of the poem and given you points like poem, poet. Now remember, my dear students, you have to go point wise. Do not write in paragraph form. Okay. Now I will do that for you now. Let us see the appreciation of the poem. First point, poet and poet. The title of the poem is Leisure, and it's written by the poet William Henry Davis. The theme of the poem. The poet feels bad and regrets that ours is a poor life which is full of worries and cares and stress, and we have no time to appreciate and enjoy what the nature has got to offer us, the beauty of nature. Then the tone of the poem is serious and reflective. Structure and stanzas. You know, the poem is having 7 stanzas. 7 stanzas which are couplets. Couplets meaning they are 2 at a time. So they are called as couplets. So the stanzas are of 2 lines each, and the poem has 7 couplets with lines of equal length. Rhyme and rhythm. Rhyme is the rhyme scheme that we observe in the poem is A, B, B, C, C. As you can see, each couplet ends with rhyming words. For example, care, stare, bows, cows, so on and so forth. The language of the poem is easy to understand, simple, and many figures of speech have been used in the poem, such as alliteration, personification, rhetorical question, that is interrogation, metaphor, so on and so forth. Now I hope you must have understood the poem and you will be able to answer the questions based on it. That will be all for the day, students. Thank you.